And our top story this hour coming in from India, Singapore's Prime Minister Lawrence Wong is in India on a 3-day official visit. This is not his first visit to India since taking office. Today, the two leaders held bilateral talks and signed key agreements that were aimed at strengthening ties. Prime Minister Modi, hailed Singapore for being India's largest trade partner in Southeast Asia. He also said that both nations have laid a roadmap to further bolster ties between the two nations.
साउथ ईस्ट एशिया क्षेत्र में सिंगापुर हमारा सबसे बड़ा ट्रेड पार्टनर है। सिंगापुर से भारत में बड़े स्तर पर निवेश हुआ है। हमारे रक्षा संबंध निरंतर मजबूत हो रहे हैं। पीपल टू पीपल संबंध गहरे और जीवंत है। आज हमने अपनी पार्टनरशिप के भविष्य के लिए एक डिटेल्ड रोड मैप तैयार किया है।
Prime Minister Wong, on the other hand, pledged to support India's semiconductor vision. Listen into what he had to say.
Singapore will continue to support India's skills development journey. We are honored to accept India's invitation to be a global partner for the National Center of Excellence in Chennai, which will focus on advanced manufacturing. We will also collaborate with India to set up state-level skills centers to meet industry needs in sectors like aviation, maintenance, repair and overhaul, and semiconductors. Second, we will expand cooperation in manufacturing and industrial development.
India's semiconductor market is on a sharp growth trajectory. According to the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, the current market size is estimated at $45 to $50 billion, and by 2030 it is projected to be more than double, reaching $200 to $110 billion. This surge reflects India's rising role in the global semiconductor value chain. The visit comes at the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi as both nations mark 60 years of diplomatic ties. Prime Minister Wong is accompanied by his wife and a high-level delegation which includes cabinet ministers and senior officials. For more on this, let's go across to Siddhant Sibal, our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, joining us on the broadcast. Siddhant, of course, Prime Minister Wong has been holding a slew of meetings, the latest, of course, being with Prime Minister Modi. Run us through the details known so far about the meeting that was held at the Hyderabad House.
Well, earlier today, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Singapore Prime Minister held talks in Delhi, and the key focus was on semiconductors, manufacturing and skill development. In fact, Singapore will play an important role in developing institutions that will provide skilling in India. The big focus, of course, remained on investment. Now, remember, Singapore is the largest investor in India, and they plan to continue the investment. In fact, the Singapore Prime Minister, during his address at Hyderabad House, pointed as to how India is the fourth largest economy, and of course how they see opportunities in India. In fact, the Indian Prime Minister mentioned about the need to review the trade pact with Singapore and with the ASEAN countries. Remember, Singapore Prime Minister, who is on India visit, has already held meeting with Indian investors. That basically shows that how much there is enthusiasm from the Singaporean side to invest in India. But this visit is also about charting the future as well. Both sides have come up with an action plan, and remember, this year both countries are celebrating and marking the 60th anniversary of diplomatic relationship. Earlier this year, we saw the Singapore president visiting India, and last year the Indian Prime Minister had visited the country, where the ties were elevated to comprehensive strategic partnership. During this visit, of course, the focus also remained on upping the defense relationship. Indian Navy ships have made regular port calls. In fact, 10 Indian Navy ships this year have made port calls to Singapore. That shows increasing defense relationship. all in all, Singapore is seen as an important pillar for India's Act East policy and wider outreach to the ASEAN grouping, to the Southeast Asian region. In fact, Singapore-India relationship have seen a significant growth and have been historic in many sense. In fact, Singapore was first, India was the first country, one of the first countries, in fact, to recognize Singapore. That shows that not only history in the relationship, but also how from the very beginning both sides have been not only in touch with each other, but have been focusing on how several pillars of the relationship can be worked upon.
Right, Siddhant, thank you for the moment. For now, let's focus to other stories that you're tracking.